really cool.
With Pop Culture Minefield.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
This is how it is. This is how it is.
I wish I could have this tune in my head throughout the week.
This is how it is. 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 Today on Pop Culture Minefield. This is how it is. Today. This is how it is.
Welcome to my home. And it's really of your own will and leave some of the happiness you bring.
Count Dracula.
I am Dracula.
By the way, when he's in the old man makeup, he looks exactly like John Hurt before he died. He really did. John Hurt, man, great actor, but he really looked like John Hurt.
He kind of looks like Jeremy Irons from The Time Machine. Hold.
Right. Yep. So here we go. This is the film we're talking about today.
Forgive my interruption, but I was just made aware of the unfortunate.
I'm just kidding. We'll not fucking be talking about that movie ever on this channel. That was what was wrong with that film is he forgot what parody meant, Mel Brooks. And he cast a comedic actor who's originally was a dramatic actor, but eventually got better known for comedy, Leslie Nielsen as Dracula, which is a horrible casting idea. He should have cast somebody who was more dramatic.
Wait a minute. Wasn't that the Zucker brothers who did that movie?
No, that's Mel Brooks, man. Mel Brooks, Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
Allow me to slowly scoff.
Scoff. Ladies and gentlemen, my esteemed panelists, I would like to welcome my daughter Zoe to the show. That's her in the center. She's actually here. That's not a photo. That is her live. She just doesn't move a lot. So it looks like it's a photo. This is the girl who, just like my other kids, took on the mantle of being artist. And I'm really proud of the stuff she's been doing. And I'm so excited for her that she just finished her second commission, right?
Yeah, technically it's second. I had a commission like a few years ago. It was a painting that I did for a buddy, but yeah.
Plus, you did a painting for me for my birthday a year ago, and it's just fantastic.
That was 4 years ago.
Okay, look, I'm aging and time goes by quickly. I don't pay attention to time.
It's okay.
But I do want to show off some of your artwork right now. By the way, I do want to remind people that Dracula, he doesn't have an aversion to religious symbols because of the fact that they can do harm to him. It's because he is an atheist. I made this meme like 7 or 8 years ago. I still chuckle at it. It's not that I have an aversion to your religious relics. It's that I have an aversion to your pushing your religious beliefs on me. Right. Good old Dracula. So we've got some artwork here by my daughter I would like to show off. Are you ready, honey?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Also, in the private message area, could you put whatever link you want put out for your artwork
Yeah, sure. Give me 1
in the
second.
private chat, and Martin will post it for you.
Okay.
War
I
Monkey,
like
you mean
Jewish
bankers?
vampires.
He means bankers.
Bankers. Jewish vampire means banker. Gotcha.
Yep.
I think the best vampire spoof is the field. I love that fucking movie. So few people like that film. Roman Polanski, early, way before he went nuts. Actually, that film was before his wife was murdered.
Wow, it goes back that old?
Yeah, 1967, I think, 68, right in that area. And she was dead within a year. I think the best. So I want to take that down. Take that down, please. I'm trying to show the artwork. Pretty please.
Wait.
Sure,
I'm on it.
whatever you need, Martin, please. Thank you. So this is some of my daughter's artwork. These are original things that she does, and she sells them as stickers, and probably also as art prints, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we have a few art prints or a couple art prints available right now. We're adding more as the day goes by, or as the days are going by. We're trying to get everything edited correctly to where it all looks nice and everything. It's been a big process for sure.
I love this drawing. My dad's best friend follows you religiously and loves everything you put out.
Are we still looking at my shy dude?
Yeah, this one.
Okay, cool.
Now we'll move to this one. Cool.
Cool. That is called the Night in Japan. It's
ghosts walking around
very,
the village.
Yes, very heavily inspired by Studio Ghibli, specifically Spirited Away.
My kids love that movie.
It's such a good movie. All right, I sent both of my Etsy and my Instagram.
Is that Black Hole Sun?
Yeah. That's funny. Black Hole Sun.
Hope you wash away the pain. Black Hole Sun. I like this drawing because I raised you for a few years there in Arizona, and you did take a good love for the saguaro cactuses there.
I did. They are truly magnificent plants.
And protected, by the way.
Yes, heavily protected.
So here we go. This is one of your stickers you gave me. I like
Puddle of Bones.
That sounds like something that Tim Burton would call his party or something. Bones.
Yeah.
This one's an odd one. It's like, what is this one about?
They're Siamese demon cats. It was just like a
all
random
cats are
sketch.
demons.
Yes.
No, they're not.
Mine. Yeah, no, this one was originally just a little sketch that I did, and I just loved it so much. I was like, I don't want to turn it into like a full drawing because I didn't really have much, like, many ideas for it. But I was like, you know what? We'll turn it into a fucking sticker. Like, let's go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And this one's one of the newer ones. And
yes,
I like this one a lot.
This one's actually a remake of a drawing that I did. It's the original is on my Instagram, but I wasn't quite happy with it. So I was like, you know what? I have grown so much since I did that original drawing, so I'm going to redo it. And I am so happy with how it came out. It's really good.
I'm going to tell you, the idea is, as a concept, that first drawing you did is a good concept drawing.
Yeah.
This is so much better drawn than
Yeah.
the original.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
I know what it
Of course.
is. All right. So this is Lydia Dietz, but this time she's wearing the sheets and not the ghost.
I love that.
She
So
loves being cute, by the way.
I do. I'm currently actually rocking my Winona Ryder hair right now. But So the whole idea from this drawing that we had done was my boyfriend and I were sitting down watching a Nuke's Top 5 scary videos. If anybody's familiar with those on YouTube, he is one of our favorite YouTubers. But we thought, how funny would it be if the ghosts are flying by windows, flipping us off on a skateboard? And I was like, I have to draw that because it sounded so ridiculous to me. And I was like, yeah, no, that needs to be a thing. So here we have it born.
There we go. That's some of the artwork. If you want to commission my daughter, did you give Martin the link to get a hold of you?
Yeah, it's in the private chat.
Yes, I posted on our chat. So
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Martin. So there you
Don't
go. Zoe, what inspired you to become an artist?
I think you know the answer to that. The like literal 18 years that I spent around an artist. I mean, for a while, I feel like I pushed it away for reasons that I was just like, maybe it's not for me. Maybe
Her
like,
idea
I'm
of
not.
rebelling against me, her idea of
Was
rebelling
not-
against Dad was
Yeah.
to not do artwork.
Yeah.
Because I pushed her all the time, telling her, "You've got so much talent," and she was, "No."
Yeah. So once I finally accepted it though, like I think it was literally like within the last couple of years, like I was doing a few like drawings and things, and I found my style and everything. And I feel like that was one of the biggest things I was having issues with was like,
you don't want to replicate somebody else's. You want to find your
yeah,
style. Yeah.
I was trying really hard to be something I wasn't. And once I figured out where I was going, it really blossomed for sure. It's been a big journey. I'm really happy for it. Like, it's awesome.
Very good. By the way, Snortopussis has joined us.
Bless
do
you.
it. You can say it. You can say it.
Snortopupus has joined us. Hello. We always say hello.
Hello.
Hello. We got awesome one who is here, and the less awesome one, Tim, is here. No, it's a glory hole. Shut up, Tim. He is the one that brought up Fearless Vampire Killers, I recall. And no, it's Slasher Fred. Yeah, there we go. Slasher Fred. And Slasher Fred corrected me. It was not 68. It was 67. So there we go. I knew it was before the incidents with the Manson family. And it seems like after that, he couldn't do comedy anymore. And I'm, of course, talking about Polanski. He lost his sense of humor, and you kind of do after that.
He's like Shawn
And-
Michaels. He lost his smile.
Lost his smile. And then later, delved so deep into drugs, look what happened to him. Fuck. And by the way, to remind people, that was at Jack Nicholson's house, the incident with the 13-year-old.
Shh, we don't talk about that.
They weren't aware of it because he was dating, what's her name? Houston, Angelica Houston at the time. And neither of them knew what was going on. When they saw her, they thought she was a woman. They had no idea she was underage when they were introduced to her. So, yes, awesome one, my progeny. One of three of my progeny. All three went into arts. One focused more on the sculpting, but then switched completely over to just the writing. And then the middle one got into some weird stuff called, what do you call it?
We're in trouble.
Japanese
We're in real
Hentai.
hentai.
real-
Yeah, porn. Why are we in trouble?
because that.
Nadia, you're welcome to join us. Martin can send you an invite. He's in that group.
I'm on it.
I like you, Nadia. You're funny.
We all like you.
Oh, I love Nadia. She's awesome.
I mean, I've never talked to her before. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, she's so awesome.
I'm
She's
having her
kinda
on the
new.
show in a couple of weeks.
she's kind of new to a lot of the films, and so it's kind of cool when she's like, "I just watched," and I'm like, "Oh my god," It's like we could celebrate it.
I don't think I talked to you about this, Gary, but my show was kind of half inspired. It half inspired to be the show, but after we kind of went through a few episodes, stuff that kind of clicked in. I was inspired by people who kind of stayed in COVID, but those like young people, and they opened up a YouTube channel because they didn't know what to do, and they gravitated into first time watching insert a movie. And I like that because a lot of them went to like old classics, and suddenly they've discovered this whole world of content. And then I was sitting around at another one of those holiday dinners, and a boyfriend of my niece, he's like special forces and all that stuff, and we got to talking about stuff that was before the war and stuff. And I said, yeah, I like Die Hard. I mentioned something, and I said, yeah, I like Die Hard. And he said, what's Die Hard? So I was like,
I have seen Die
never
Hard.
seen Die Hard before? It's like, okay, this is why my show exists.
Not
And
only
Nadia,
watch it.
Nadia, I'm pleased to meet you, sort of face to face.
Yeah, I'm going to be on your show in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So my whole point is the show we have, which is not very similar to this one, but we do it with 3 people, and I like it when the third person or the guest is like the first time ever to watch a movie, and it's sort of, to me, classic. We get such a great different perspective that I would love to rewatch The Goonies for the very first time. When we did The Goonies, the chick that was on like a guest with us, she's like 22, 21 years old, and she has never seen The Goonies before. And she got a completely different take, and it was such a refreshing thing to do. It just got me jazzed to just go for it. You talk about movies. It's so much fun.
And it's one of my favorite things to do is to talk about these things, and that's why you and I clicked. Nadia and I clicked for the same reason. And by the way, Nadia, this is my daughter up above you. If you reach up, you can tickle her.
Hi, Zoe. Nice to meet
Hello.
you.
Nice to meet you too.
What
Gary,
year were you born, Nadia?
A woman doesn't tell her age.
I'm not
Gary,
asking your age. Yeah, we're forcing
figure it
nerds to do math.
One thing I want to say before I tell you, we will have to have a stream discussing Blade Runner because I have so many questions, and I feel like I don't like this movie, but I want to talk about it with somebody.
I didn't like it the first time I saw it.
Okay,
I had to see it a second time for me to like it, because I had to understand it, because it was hard to process. My friends and I went to see it in the movie theater thinking, this is Han Solo, Indiana Jones. We get there and it's like, he's murdering women. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Because the only people he kills are fucking women in the film. He can't kill the men. They kick his ass, So I had to read the book. And the book gave me a generally good idea of what I had just watched. And I
haven't
went back
seen
with my friends.
the sequel to it yet. I have to catch up on that.
You can skip it.
Yeah,
It's fine.
See, that's so diverse. People are like, you got to see it. You don't. Anyway, I was born in 87.
87. So Zoe is
12 years younger.
12 years older than you, or younger than you.
Yeah. I
did the
older,
math
Zoe.
faster. Huh?
I wish older, right?
Oh.
Math sucks. Everybody knows that.
Right.
You can't count
By the way,
potatoes, so.
my good friend Tom was going to join us, I thought, for at least a few minutes. But he's in the chat right now, reminding everybody that he loves this movie, Dracula. It is a classic. I absolutely love this film.
I don't know how
and then
long
another-
I have. I don't know how long I have because I'm going to be getting ready to go meet Zax in person.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine. Tom Baker is here, not the Tom Baker, but a Tom Baker. So that makes 2 Toms in the audience right now. one more tom, and it's a full drum set.
So this is what you had to deal with, Zoe?
Yeah. Imagine it. 24/7.
She had a great childhood. I put a lot of fun into being. I mean, don't get me wrong. We had our fucking moments. When she hit in between 12 and 13, all of a sudden, you know, because she was having her friend, her aunt Flo joining, and she would come home in a fucking mood. And I would turn to her going, I'm in constant chronic pain and I don't take it out on you. You can leave the room now and come back when you feel like talking to me like I'm a human being.
Which would almost be never.
You were a very good daughter. I would say 70% of your teens was good. And I would always respond to people about, like, they would ask, how are things going? I said, oh, I want to hug her one moment. I want to choke her to death the next.
Oh, it's me too.
Like,
She was in
like,
here
oh.
in her dress in her good mood. But
your daughter
earlier today when she had to do something, it was Scream City.
Oh, I got to tell you, man, Zoe would have her moments, but I would still say 70% of the time, man, she was the greatest kid. I was so lucky to be her dad.
I was okay.
And I really do. I consider that a blessing in my life, getting to be her dad. But by God, I swear, especially when she got closer to 16 and 17, oh my God, I threatened her boyfriend at the time. I catch you in this house when I'm not here again. People will be writing, wondering, or people will asking, why don't he write? Because you'll be gone. I will make you disappear. I scared the shit out of him that day.
Listen. As a older woman on this panel, who's very close to my dad and who's had a lot of ups and downs with my dad. Girls go through this thing where you're daddy's girl when you're very young. Teenagers, you don't want to deal anything, even young adults, and then when you're older, you go back to being a daddy's girl. So it's just a cycle.
She's my baby. I love her so much, and I start like getting like morose if she doesn't like get a hold of me for a while, because like, you know, I don't want to be intrusive in her life, because she is having her life, and I don't want to intrude on her. I don't want to be that kind of parent. But she'll go, I need you to be a friend and not my dad. I went, oh, honey, that's never going to fucking happen. I'm always going to be stuck in that role until I die.
I don't think I've said that to you for 5, maybe 6 years, sir.
I'm going to tell you, though, and it was within 5 years you said that the last time. And I just said, just get used to it, because even when I'm being judgy with you, I love you immeasurably. And I don't judge you in a negative way. I just worry. I worry about you, and I want you to have a good and better life than mine. And that's what that's all about. So again, thank you for coming on the show, Zoe, and reliving your childhood with me.
You're welcome.
But we have a good relationship. I like it when we talk. I do.
It's pretty okay.
Oh, you know what? Fuck you. And we say that stuff to each other, but we still love each other even when we go fuck you to each other. Because I raised her not to be afraid to joke with me. Don't be afraid to joke with me. So I want to point out something so important about this film. Right now, you're seeing the preface, okay? This is the backstory of Vlad the Impaler. And they're doing a quasi-telling of Vlad the Impaler, who is said to be the model for who Dracula really was. So this is not in the book. Not in the book by Bram Stoker's. And Francis Ford Coppola makes sure to do this before the title Bram Stoker's Dracula appears. Because from that point forward, it's based on what's in the book. So it's very clever what he did here by showing this scene, because it's never explained how he became a vampire. And this is also, I think, inspired slightly by Nosferatu, because Nosferatu made the statement that he was born from a demon. And this says that it is his rejection of God that led him to be immortal and a demon. I've read it since high school, D-Bud. But I got to tell you, for those of you who probably love the book, I was like, I love the concept that it just was weird because everything was narrative rather than being a story where you get to know a characters in a different way. It's their perspective. Each character talking is telling from their perspective, so therefore they are the narrator of their moments, and so therefore you don't get to know them. But this is great because it shows them going off into a crusade, and they use a mixture of real life silhouette, real life people, and rod puppets or paper rod puppets in the background, which is something they show later when they take you to the cinematograph. You get to see a scene with the same rod puppets that they used at the opening. The lighting here is incredible. Coppola, this is probably the last great film he ever made. Because I know the
palette in general in this movie is just so well put together. All the colors.
This is the term, Nadia. You tell me if you agree. I refer to this film as luscious.
Yes. Yep. And with using proper lighting in this and stuff, it's just nothing is out of this world, meaning like there's not a weird color that kind of takes you off the screen. Everything is just flows so well together.
Absolutely. And also 99% of the effects in this were in-camera effects.
Yeah.
Either done live at the moment or shot later through the old photographic process. Like this is a puppet. That's not a woman. And the camera moves through the window and looks down, and you see the puppet falling all the way to the bottom. I love what they did in this film.
Do you know they use special filters to highlight the red color? You said luscious. It highlighted the red color as if to make it look like a very deep rosy, like a red rose kind of a color to it. So it just
crimson
off the screen.
I wonder what filter they used. I'm curious. I will need to look that one up. That's what I'm talking about.
To highlight red.
What Tom just said there, some of it was double exposure because they used old techniques. Everything done in this film was done with the old techniques, and it's just gorgeous to look at. Thanks, Tom. Wish you were here. I'm being dickish to him because he was going to try to be here.
Dude, he's probably deep into editing one of the retrospective stuff that.
Well, they're getting ready to do the release of Nosferatu, which I'm going to pause this momentarily to point out that this is a great moment caught in the film where he comes in and learns of his bride's death, that she has committed suicide, and according to Orthodoxy law, she is outside of heaven, locked outside of heaven. And this is what leads him to reject God and stab the cross, and all that blood comes out. The visuals in this, again, luscious visuals. His armor is designed to look like the striations of muscle.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like the inner flesh of what you look like inside if you take off your skin.
Yeah, if you pull the skin off, man. Yeah. Of course, the sinuous part's not there. I don't care. It's luscious again. But that is Anthony Hopkins in the middle of the Three Stooges there on the right.
Really interesting.
Yep.
I've seen this movie so many times.
In the scene. That is him.
I've seen this movie a ton of times too. I'd never picked up on that.
I didn't recognize him at first. In the close-up,
Tom, that is
not at first. No.
Possible that he was reincarnated, but I don't think that was the intention of that. I think the intent was for him to get to play another character in the same film. And again, he fucking deserved an Oscar for this movie, man. There he is. That's Hopkins there. And then right after this is when he stabs the crucifix. Cursing
it's a
God.
Cross, Gary. It's a crucifix when there's Jesus on it. Without Jesus,
I see Jesus on it because I'm religious.
Oh, go fuck off.
So
Stop putting
Anyway,
the thing in your
great.
coffee. It makes me see things.
great opening scene. I'm going to talk over my girlfriend while she tries to correct me some more. But I do. This is I'm so glad he shot this scene because it gives you so much weight behind what he does. Going after Wilhelmina.
Well, I
And I
hate to
love the
be a party pooper, but I gotta jump because I gotta get ready.
You
I'm
always are a party pooper. You can't help it.
I know. I
Oh
know.
my
I'll be
God.
listening while I'm getting ready, though.
I'll see you in about 3 weeks, and we'll be doing Army of Darkness. We're going to make it 90s night.
Yes, because 90s rule. All right. Bye, guys.
Love you, Nadia. Bye.
Bye.
She is awesome, by the way. I'm so glad I met her. And if it weren't for Zach's, I would never have met her. I'm so grateful. Zach's is such a good friend. So anyway, we will.
I'll tell you why this movie hasn't won. It's the year of the Unforgiven, Scent of a Woman, Glengarry Glen Ross, Crying Game, A Few Good Men. Yeah, there's no way this movie.
There's no chance.
No
That
way.
breaks my heart because what a great film. So I'm going to pause it here, and we're going to watch the trailer. What?
I'm sorry. David Paymer for Mr. Saturday Night got nominated over this for Gary Oldman. Holy hell. Well,
fuck that guy and fuck the Oscars anyway.
Yeah,
they've been garbage for a long time. Always chose the worst lovers in the movies. It's not her choice, that's the writers. Anima asked a great question the other day while we were watching something. So why is he doing that? And I said, because the writers told him to. It's like, what are you? So let's get the trailer up, Martin.
Yes.
This is for Tom and Andre's new edit.
Coming soon, experience the classic Nosferatu like you never have before. Nosferatu, the Midnight's Edge experience, with an entirely new score and soundtrack.
By Tom, by the way.
Celebrating the launch of our brand new channel.
I didn't know about the new channel.
Nosferatu, Symphony of Horror, the Midnight's Edge experience.
Oh, classics and retrospectives. Thanks for telling me about this, P-Bud. All right.
Tom is such a great voice actor. He's amazing.
He's all right. So there it is. After the scene, they throw the title on. Because from that point forward, it's Bram Stoker's Dracula. But up to that point, it was not. And that was very clever. London, 1897, right before Jack the Ripper. 4 centuries later. Tom has a face for radio. I think we all do.
Oh yeah.
Some people giving me shit.
Oh no, Tom, no, not at all. I was saying this. I saw this the new video for the remake of Nosferatu of your channel today, and you featured this trailer with that music, and it has been living in my head for the whole day. I really like this new soundtrack.
Oh my god, this one. Zack Snyder
Oh,
presents
no.
the 3-hour Snyder cut of Nosferatu. Oh my God.
Imagine Nosferatu moving in slow mo.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know how they're cooking in the comments. Literally, the first comment that pops in is, "Please release the song in any way you can. It's amazing."
Yeah, the music sounds great. I got to tell you, if it weren't for Tom, I wouldn't have been working on these 2 new albums, because I have taken a baptism in learning how to use a mixture of my music and AI in order to do what I've always wanted to do, work without an actual singer, because singers annoy me. They're unreliable fucking twats most of the time. And so I like that. And I thank Tom for that. So anyway, speaking of that, my daughter has an amazing voice, but she won't do any music with me, even though she used to tease me with it, going, "One day, Dad, I'm gonna sing and you're gonna play. You'll see. We'll just be like Peter Gabriel and his daughter Melanie. It'll be a Sunday." Then she like fucking ghosts me.
Well.
Oh, hi,
his
honey.
daughter-
I forgot you were
his
here.
daughter quit working with her dad, so that fits.
Well, she's grown beyond me, and I know that. I tease you, honey, but you have grown beyond me. I've always been impressed with that. I still think you're one of the most gifted one of my kids. So we'll see how that pans out.
I wouldn't say that. Ben can make some fucking sick costumes and wigs. Like, let me tell you.
Oh my God. The first time I saw him in one of his drag outfits,
I love it.
I was like going, "What the hell is that?" And went, "Oh my fucking God, it's my son."
I wish I could pull off drag.
Well, you'd have to dress like a man.
No, you don't have to. No, you don't. Okay.
Yeah, let's forget what words mean.
I can do drag and do like drag female looks, and it's still considered drag.
Yeah,
Just
I think
saying.
drag is a look. It's not only.
Thank you, Anima. Thank you. You go watch RuPaul's Drag Race, Dad, and you tell me I can't do drag.
Once I grow my foreskin back, I'll start watching.
Whoa!
Whatever. TMI.
My mom dressed up for
There's no
carnival
such
once,
thing as
and she
TMI.
fucking looked like a drag queen, and she rocked it.
I love that.
What is this? In the trailer of The Mummy from '99, they play the music from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, that's sick.
I love it
didn't
when
know
they
that.
do shit like that. I love it because for a long time they were using the hero theme from The Untouchables for any heroic scene in movies. For like 10 years, they did that. Let's see. Women dressing up to pretend to be women. There you go. Tim gets it. Tim understands me. Did I say something funny? I don't know. What's he talking about? But welcome to the show today, Bronson. I'm not sure what that was referencing to. What's that?
Whoa!
Oh, it's Tom from Midnight's Edge.
I am here. I am here.
Zoe, I'm going to point
How's
something out.
everybody?
That's my artwork.
Why am I big?
Because I want to show my daughter. My daughter, Zoe. Zoe, that's Tom. He's my buddy from Midnight's Edge.
Bonjour.
Hi.
So we are talking about, and getting back to this movie, because we have to do that every once in a while. I know Mephisto and I joke about being ADD, but we're both capable of redirecting ourselves back to what the fuck we were talking about. So this is a great scene because it introduces Jonathan Harker, the idea that why he's going to Romania, and also in one single line introduces Renfield and that he had already failed. Hopefully,
Is this in the book?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I thought the book started out with him right on the road, just like the 30.
No, it is,
31
but it's
movie.
mentioned in passing in his journal.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Everything it's written by via letter or journal or diary.
Yeah, I don't know if you
Journals
saw
and
in the
diaries are
chat.
not exactly the same thing.
Keanu Reeves was not meant to play this role.
No, Johnny Depp was.
Yeah. Who?
Johnny Depp was cast.
Oh, Johnny
he was,
Depp. Yeah.
He was in the movie. They were close to shooting. The studio got cold feet. They almost lost Winona Ryder over it because she was like, what the fuck? You told me that Johnny Depp was my leading man, and now all of a sudden it's Keanu. And they were, because Johnny Depp and her were dating at the time. So she almost threatened to leave over the whole goddamn thing. But Francis is like, the studio thinks that Keanu is the bigger sell because he just had the hit with, I think at that point was Point Break and
Point Break.
A couple other films there in a row like that.
Point
It was
Break
before
was
Speed,
not a
but
hit.
Also, they probably wanted to avoid drama, being that they dated back then. That's risky to have them work together.
well, you got to remember Johnny Depp wasn't Johnny Depp yet. He hadn't even.
Yeah,
I don't even think he
so-
had done Edward Scissorhands yet.
He hadn't
either.
even done Edward Scissorhands yet. But I'm telling you, Depp would have been so much better because his English
Duh.
accent.
As
worked
much as I
so-
love Keanu, duh.
he's terrible. He's
No, wait.
I
wait.
love this movie, but Keanu is so wrong for this part of Jonathan Harker.
I kind of
Edward
liked him.
Scissorhands was 1990, but this was just around the time where I think Keanu did My Personal Idaho with
Yeah, and Parenthood and shit. I think.
River Phoenix.
and this was before Gilbert. What's going on over
Depp.
Gilbert Grape? This
Yeah,
was before Gilbert, and this was, let me check. I
that
think
was 95, wasn't it?
yeah, and I think this was before Benny and June. So we've got Benny and June.
Oh, yeah.
I love that
Oh,
movie.
I love that movie.
It's such a good movie.
Then Benny and June. Then what's
People
going
forget that
over
Johnny
Gilbert
Depp wasn't
Grape.
even really a movie star until Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right?
Well-
He was an actual
Come
actor.
on.
Yeah, it was an
No,
actor.
and
Oh, he's an actor.
And I say that as one of his biggest fans. Like, I used to
I
follow
wholly
him
agree
since
with you.
back in the day because I was a Nightmare on Elm Street fan. So I followed him into 21 Jump Street and Crybaby and Edward Scissorhands and all that. You know, like, so I watched him and I'm like, I got pissed when he should have gotten certain roles like this because I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I love Keanu Reeves. He's Ted. That's the problem. He's Ted. Right? You know, like some of the reviews at the time were so harsh on him. They were like, we were waiting for him to end every line with dude or whoa. Like, go read them.
Whoa.
And he tried
they
his
were
hardest,
brutal.
but
they were brutal. Well,
Tom.
the fact is, there's so many mistakes in this film. There's one of my least favorite moments, even though it's one of my favorite scenes, is when they confront Dracula with her after he's turned her. And they come into the room and he's the giant fucking bat costume, which was insane costume and makeup. His hair is all gray in that scene. And then we cut to the next scene and it's just got hints of gray in it again. It's back to dark with hints of gray. And I'm like, who is in charge of continuity in this fucking movie? And now that I'm bitching about that and joking, really, I'm not really bitching. But
just
bringing
being
it
the
up,
hat.
I have to show this clip, Tom, that when I'm in the theater, I noticed this because I watched this movie twice in the movie theater before buying it. And I have owned it ever since this movie came out. So here you go. The magic hat.
Martha! Oh, my darling. Oh, you wonderful.
I'm so sorry about your hat. Absolutely.
It was in his hands. It was in his hand. We cut.
I never noticed that
come
before.
back,
Now I won't be able to unsee it, you bastard.
and then all of a sudden, it's, Dr. I always forgot his name. Oh my God, Dr. Not Stewart. Well, fuck. Anyway, the doctor's sitting on his hat. Seward. That's it. Seward. He's sitting on his fucking hat. And I'm like, how'd he fucking do that? And of course, in a movie, you can't back it up. So I went to see it a second time and I caught it again and went, what the fuck who was in charge of that edit? Who? Oh my fucking God. And I understand Coppola, has a tendency on his own movies to, all right, move on. And I think that's what happened there. And it's like, no, it's too late. We can't, no. And I'm like,
well, he was kind of under the gun on this one because he wanted to prove that he could do a studio picture on time, under budget, and all that kind of business. So he was rushing through it, I think, too.
And so, but there's 2 continuity problems in this film that I've caught just watching casually. And that was one.
And that's before we get to the reshoots, but yeah.
Yeah, Keanu's hair in that scene with the confrontation with Dracula, his hair is straight fucking white. And I was like, what the fuck? It was really, bam, hit me in the face. It was so obvious. But I love the scene still with this. I love it like this. Instead of doing a wipe, they do the feathers. That was fucking cool, man.
That was literally in the script too. Like you go, and this is okay. I'm gonna explain this scene.
Yeah, explain how they did this because it's really amazing.
Okay, so you go from because Francis Ford Coppola wanted to do all these because a lot of this is written in the script this way, and he wanted to shoot it as Gary was explaining earlier with a lot of the old school techniques in the ways they used to do it and tell the story in a way that we've never kind of seen before, while also kind of hearkening back to what the original film was, also paying some homage to Nosferatu, and then also doing its own thing, and we'll get to that here in a bit. But what we have in this scene here, shit, it went past where I wanted it because.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. So it starts with the peacock feather. Okay. So, because he kept telling all these people, I want to do all these elaborate shots. So it's in the script. It goes from the peacock feather out of a tunnel, see the train riding on top of the book while the eyes of Dracula are in the sky.
Yes.
Here comes.
You have all that crazy shit in one fucking shot. Now, let me explain to you here. Like, Francis, he told the guys, the special effects guys, he's like, I don't remember who he said, but he's like, I was talking to all the big guys, had worked on Star Wars and all that shit. And they're like, you can't do all this shit. And I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. I'll find somebody who will. He found his son who was ambitious enough to he was really into the special effects stuff. So he's like, I think we can do this, Dad. And we can do it under budget. We can do it like this, that, and the other. So what you have here is the book, which is actually like 20 feet long. So it's an oversized version of the book in front of a model train that has a completely built model that has, I believe, rear projection. And then in that rear projection, they actually have a special effect already in, which is the eyeballs. So that's 4 layers of shit in one shot. Now, they managed in some shots to be able to do it in one single shot, even though it was multi-pass. And we'll get to those later. And I don't think this was one of the multi-pass shots. The one that really sticks out to me because it's on the negative. And they said you'd never shoot it that way. Well, not now, but even then, they weren't shooting it that way. Is when you have the rats walking upside down. Yeah, so what they did is they masked off the negative, recorded the rats with the camera upside down, flipped the camera back around, and put it, in a completely different location.
Right side up. Yeah.
Covered up and masked where the rats were before, filmed the part with Keanu Reeves, and it's all in one shot on the negative. No opticals whatsoever. And that's how they used to do a lot of that shit back in the day.
There was 0 optical passes in this film.
There was for some stuff, but not for that shot. But yeah. So like this does have an optical in it. Like I said, this has the eyeballs and the optical in the back, which is actually is actually filmed in the back, rear projection behind the train with a model of all the shit around it, plus the train and the big 20-foot book.
Well, then we cut to this here with the letter, and then this shot in the background is miniature.
And this is rear projection with miniatures in rear projection in front of a real car. Or behind a real car.
There's so many elaborate little miniature things they do in this film, like the scene where you see the coach walking in front of the mansion. The mansion, the gate, they were done perspectively.
It's a miniature.
All miniatures.
I love how the
And
castle looks like an old man sitting on a throne.
yes, I love the
That's
design
so
of
good.
Dracula's castle.
That's a
Now
great
I've got
shot.
a clip for this, by the way. I do want to play this right here. I'm going to play it now. We'll get probably called on it because I didn't want to remove the music from the clip. So here we go.
And that she will enjoy her stay in my
Those are
beautiful
great.
land. Your friend, D.
Now on that one, what I did is I tweaked the audio to where most of the music was removed from that because it lasted longer than 10 seconds. YouTube is such a cunt. But this is such a good scene, and it really, and here we go, diary, 25th of May, you know, that's how the book reads. These are old tin plate photographs. Those are actually done tin plate photographs using tin plate photography for this movie. Francis Ford Coppola is insane. The lightning in camera on set live.
And this is why people don't like Zack fucking Snyder. He goes like, "Ooh, I bought this old lens that we can use." But when you watch the film, it's like, no, you did. You did all this digitally. So who you're kidding?
Yeah, because I mean, they would have wanted him to do a lot of this with computers because you guys got to remember this is right around the same time as Jurassic Park and all that stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. By the way, I don't know if they'll show it here, but technically, according to Anima, that's a real crucifix because there's a wolf man crucified to it.
Are you seriously going to argue with someone who spent 8 years in fucking Catholic school? Fuck off.
I went to Catholic school too.
Sincerely, fuck off. Get your facts right. That's embarrassing, Gary.
For who?
Father Weems.
I do love the fact that in the original 31 film, Bela Lugosi played the coachman. From what I read, this is Gary Oldman in this armor.
And then this is an interesting scene here too. So you actually have two people, and this is all in camera in one shot.
Yep.
So what you have is they're on a crane, and the guy is on a crane with them who has the same exact costume on his arm, right?
Yep.
Or no, the guy himself is on a crane. I'm sorry, take that back.
He's on
so
a crane.
he's
The
actually
guy sitting is on a crane. Yeah.
So you see him there, but you don't see the crane underneath him. So as they back out of the scene, you're like, yeah, because then it comes back in and it puts him right back in the place he was or whatever.
Yeah, he
so like,
cranes up and to him, and then cranes right back into the seat.
But it's just
and
to make it look
funny.
like his arm's stretching out. Yeah.
It's gorgeous the way they did it. Again, I'm going to use the word, Nadia concurred with me. This film is luscious because your eye is captivated while watching it because
and you
all
don't
the
even
shit
really
that's
pay
going on.
attention to how minimal the sets are.
Oh, it is.
Even
It's
in
very
comparison,
minimalistic.
even in comparison to like the 31 film, the sets are very minimal, but that's because Coppola said, here's the deal. We're going to do basically the opposite of the old German expression and all that kind of stuff, where it used to be the set was the show, right? And everything else was kind of minimalized. He goes, the everything else is going to be minimalized. The costumes are going to be the set. So if you notice, like everything is put into that, like so much was put into the costumes in this movie. Like you guys were talking about that costume in the beginning. I mean, that thing is just, I can't remember the lady's name, but she's either some Korean or Japanese lady they had come in. She had never seen any of the other Draculas before, had no frame of reference on any of this stuff outside of historical reference, right? And she came in and designed all this shit from scratch. And think about it for a minute. And this is why, excuse me, even though this movie was panned by a lot of critics for a lot of reasons back in the day, they did love the luscious costumes and all that kind of stuff. And I think it did win for costumes, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it did get nominated at least. Yeah, I think it did get some minimal nominations, but not for any of the major acting awards or anything like that. But in history, though, now, like at the time, it was kind of meh received. I mean, it did very well at the box office, but the audience was kind of lukewarm to it at best. Over time, this movie has influenced vampires more than you realize. If it wasn't for this movie, we wouldn't have sexy vampires. I don't think if it wasn't for this movie, we would even have gotten an interview with a vampire done the way it was either. Because like if you think about it, before this, you didn't really have the sexy vampire, right? I mean, he was more of a dangerous kind of like, Yeah, there's the romance part of Dracula, but it was always treated in kind of a she's under his spell kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, you look back at the original Dracula, because I bring this up every once in a while, that it was released on Valentine's Day, 1931.
Yeah, they tried to
and
sell it as a
promoted-
romance. Yeah.
It was promoted on the posters as the strangest love story of all time. And
All right,
I
so-
thought that was really clever.
So it won for sound effect editing, which is, you know, here or
Yeah.
there. It
okay.
won for makeup,
Okay, yeah.
which I get it. Like the
There's
Dracula
like 6
stuff,
different
they
makeups
do-
for Dracula. Yeah.
yeah, so I get it. And it was nominated, but it
Oh.
didn't win for what was that? No, it won for costume design.
I was gonna say I thought it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did they do
it-
this one? I'm sorry, Tom. I have to ask this because we're moving on.
The
with
Blue
video.
Flame.
The Blue Flame was one of my favorite moments in the film because
I know how they did the Blue Flame.
Go ahead, because I can't remember. I think it's some old magician trick, but go ahead. Yeah.
It's they use different metals because metal flakes when it
Yeah.
burns.
oh, I don't mean how did they make the Blue Flame? How did they get it on film? Was that done on location, or
You can do that easy.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it's some old magician's trick they used on the set. But now
I
I think
love
there's one shot that is an optical with it where they actually go through it. That might be an optical. I'm not 100%.
all I know is
on that, but-
it's one of my favorite moments in the film, going through the Blue Flame. I also need to give a great.
Well, that's because it's in the book too. It's one of the few times they actually show it in a movie, if I remember right, isn't it?
It's for me, yeah.
If I remember
I wanna
correctly,
also
it's in
give
the book.
some
yeah.
love to Mike Mignola, who did the adaptation for the film.
The comic book adaptation, yeah. And actually, he'll come up later
This is some of his artwork for the
because he was
cover.
there. He was around for the reshoot stuff.
Look at that.
Oh
and
yeah,
this
the art
was
and-
the front and
shit
back
that came
cover.
out for this movie, man, is dude, you have no like this stuff. You're like I've been actually looking to get the cards, and I know the comics are another one I got to get my.
That was
hands
a
on, too.
foil cover print, by the way. The logo
Yeah.
is red foil.
It
I
looks
had
movie
that. It
came
got
out.
stolen.
really embossed. I'm not sure
This-
it is or not.
It did almost like $250 million in the box office.
It's actual foil, so I was assuming it is embossed.
And you guys got to remember, this is not. That's with inflation. That's close to $1 billion, like probably like $600-800 million dollars now, maybe
I have
more.
to check.
Yeah, it was close to 250. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, yeah.
Now, this is the first film to get the Jonathan Harker character correct, because so often they will combine him with Renfield.
Yes.
They did that with the 79 Dracula.
The
with,
70 one, I don't think did though. See, that's the thing. Like this one and
Well,
the
the
79
79
one. No, the
I'm
70.
talking about the 79 one
1970.
with Frank
Yeah, yeah.
Langella, based on the stage
Yeah.
play, the Hammer films, all of them, including the 31 film, conflates characters. And Lucy's another one in the 79.
Well,
film
that's
with
because the
Langella.
Langella film is basically a remake of the
31.
Bela Lugosi film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Nosferatu is one of the few that got it right the first time by having him be two different characters, basically in that sense. And then otherwise, the other one besides the 1977 BBC Dracula, as far as I know, which I've never seen. That's one of the few I haven't. But I know of it. Know it very like I know it's supposed to be one of the most faithful adaptations. That 1971 is a really good one too. The Jess Franco one, if you haven't seen that one, that one's really close.
Yes, I have. It's good. By the way, Tom, I pointed out earlier, and I want to point it out again, that is absolutely William Hurt. The makeup makes him look like William Hurt. And it's bizarre how much when he's in that makeup, he looks like William Hurt.
Adjusted to inflation of 2023, the movie made $473.5 million. It is the highest grossing vampire movie of all time.
And it deserves it. I still consider this the best Dracula ever made.
And yes, I agree on the William Hurt. In fact, what's ironic is they were able to figure out how he was going to look now. And he died like, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, God bless him. I miss that guy. He was a good actor. But yeah, it's so odd that he looks like him. I know you're making a joke, but I was listening to you on the serious side of my brain. So I had to, once I realized, I was like, oh, you're fucking around. Okay.
Well, yeah, he does look like him, but yeah. Looks more like old William Hurt. That's the funny thing.
Yes, old William Hurt.
Yeah.
What's so creepy, and they don't really show it here, is that he has fur in his palm.
Yeah.
And
he
they don't show
masturbates a
the
lot.
shot. Yeah, that's the joke that I used to make. Because I was still in the army when it was going. It's like, hey, man, you don't want to turn out like Gary Oldman's Dracula, get that fur on your palm. You better stop that shit, touching yourself in the bathroom.
How come you never told me you have a serious side of your brain, Gary?
I do have a serious side.
More than 2 years, and I find out now.
Frank was a good Dracula, but he was better on stage. I don't think the film was very good at all. And it had Olivier there. Another thing I want to point out in this film is the shadow work. This film.
Oh, that's straight out of Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I
obviously
fucking love the movie.
And this look here is clearly based on Nosferatu as well.
Yeah.
But I do love that. I think this was outside of the 1970 Dracula, where they literally have Dracula just get slightly younger, right? Is all the big difference. This is one of the only times from my memory up until probably recent years where they've adopted the whole thing, where they actually have him change from this old decrepit version of Dracula into the younger, sexier version of Dracula. But that's because Francis was really like into this whole idea of him being a shapeshifter. And he fed that, of course, to what's his face on screen right now. Jesus, I just forgot his name.
Gary Oldman.
Oldman. Thank you. Gary Oldman. Yeah. And Oldman, who was actually on location, or not on location, but with them there waiting, because they shot most of this on sets. As he was sitting there waiting for his stuff to come up, he was getting bored. So he thought about this whole idea of being a shapeshifter. So they went from 3 Dracula changes in the film to 6. Because of him, because he got really chummy with the makeup lady. And then the funny part was Francis is like, he'd sit there on the set and he'd bitch and complain. And I'm like, Gary, it's your fault we're doing this and you're in the makeup because you came up with this makeup. So
yeah, but he was so drunk at the time he wouldn't remember.
He give a fuck. He's just like Gary likes to if you watch the videos of any of him on set, Gary clearly likes to blame anybody he can that's not there at the time. Doesn't matter what it is.
Wait, let's talk about that argument, the famous argument. Because we're talking about
the one I actually kind of agree with Gary on.
That one you're talking about? I agree with him too. And but I feel bad for everybody else, but I agree with what he was saying. Yeah, that argument.
I don't think Francis understood, and I don't know if Francis probably should have told him it doesn't matter because it's going to get dubbed over, or it's going to be from an angle we can't see what you're saying, or something to where that something didn't compute between the two, because it's have we come past the scene yet? I don't know if we have yet. It might be coming up.
No, we haven't. It is coming up here soon. I'll go ahead and let it get.
Because, well, when we get to it, but either way, because the whole thing is they're talking and walking, and he's like behind him a little bit, and then they catch up, and then they have a whole moment of like they come around a corner, and they get to a point where they're not in the same shot together, and so they were doing Gary's sides of the shot for some reason. I don't know if it was a reshoot or something else was going on, and Gary was having trouble figuring out where he was supposed to be in the lines, and Francis is just like, start him there and then you come around. He's like, yeah, but when we came around here, I don't remember where Keanu was. And part of me remembering where I'm at in the lines is him going off of what he was saying. So I get what Gary was saying. He's a visual actor. It's a timing thing. And all he wanted was, I need an arrow somewhere where I know where to start this line. He wasn't even saying I need the lines fed to me. He's just like, I need a timing thing to where I know where I was. And Francis kept going, doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. I was like, okay, Francis, well then tell him why it doesn't matter then, because he as an actor is trying to do his job. regardless if he's fucking drunk or not, because he even flat out just said, I know the lines, I know what you're talking about, I know where, if you want, even if you want me to start in the middle of the line, but I need to know where to start in my timing, right? I need a mark to where I know when I hit this point, I got to say, listen to them, children of the night, what music they make, or whatever it is the line is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? To where he needed that as a timing thing, and Francis just wasn't explaining to him as an actor his motivation at that point, I guess, for wanting, not to be punny, but for wanting him to just like go off the cuff. And it's like, dude, I get what he's saying, because if you want to cut that together, and this tells you why Francis sometimes is horrible at continuity. It's like, if you want to cut that together, man, you need to have him in the same spot saying the same thing, or when he comes around the corner, if he's like 3 lines behind, then the editing is not going to match up.
Exactly.
Right?
That's how you end up with stupid shit like Seward sitting on the guy's hat, you know? So I totally get that. And I agree. I'm glad we talked
Francis
about
can get a little too, like, there's times where Francis and his directing, he's a great director, but he's kind of a, I don't want to use the term flake, but he's kind of, he gets sometimes too concentrated on the mundane shit of the moment and his bullshit. And I think that's where things like Apocalypse Now and some other movies got away from him, because he gets, I don't even know how to explain it.
Being caught up in the moment instead of
exactly, caught up in the moment instead of having that view that a director's supposed to have of being able to see the entire
every
big
good
picture.
director should always have that skyscraper view of what he's doing. And I think you're right. I think Coppola doesn't have that in a lot of his films, and they've suffered for it. Getting back on track with the movie itself, this moment here,
same director, same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a great moment for me watching the film, because we see 2 naive, innocent women, one who tries to hide their romantic, lustful side.
It's one of the few times Lucy actually gets a real character too.
Yeah, and she's an exhibitionist. She is out there.
She's a little tart.
She's still, she is a virgin, but she has a dirty fucking mind. And Lucy gets caught with Arabian Nights book, which has all those sex positions painted into it. And it leads to some naughty talk. I did this last night. You didn't. I did in my dreams. I'm like, oh my God. It really captures, in my opinion, what girls probably thought like back in that day.
It's like she's a whole wannabe.
There it is. So, oh my God.
Look at that smut.
She is the succubus of the devil.
So he said, look at that slut.
Smut. I said smut, not slut.
Okay. Same difference.
No.
I'd say she's not quite a slut yet, but she will be the succubus of the devil, as we see.
I love this movie. And the great thing about her character,
or the devil's concubine. Not succubus,
all of us
concubine.
have met girls like this in school. All of us did when we were young. The girl that's like flirting with every popular dude. And she does that here at this party. And Billy Campbell is so good in this role as Quincy.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, I was at a very formidable age when I saw this movie in the theater. She is one of the reasons why I got the hots for redheads.
Oh,
especially that scene with the wolf scene. Yeah. Oh, that's a funny story in and of itself.
Younger than me, and I was not allowed.
This is hilarious because I've told this story to everybody but you, evidently, because I think everybody else probably has heard this in the chat and most of the people on the panel besides maybe Zoe. When this movie came out, I was 12. And I was hanging out with my cousin at the time, and he had a kid who was closer to my age than he was. So my actual cousin is closer to my dad's age. So he's more like an uncle than a cousin, if that makes sense. So, but me and my cousin were like really into horror movies. Like that was my gateway into horror movies, was that cousin. Like I'd go over to his place. They had almost every horror movie dubbed onto tapes. So it was the first time I ever seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you name it, any horror movie I shouldn't seen, Basket Case. I saw it there.
I think
I think
you told that story to me.
That part of it, maybe.
And I did mention I was that uncle. I was that to my brother because I showed him all the Elm Street movies.
Yeah, so like from like 8, 9, 10 on, or
You were the
whatever it
cool
was,
uncle. There you go.
that was where I saw my movies, horror movies. Leprechaun was the first time I rented, was with them and shit like that. But anyway, so
he took you to Dracula?
okay, well, me and my younger cousin wanted to go see it. The adults didn't really care to. They were just going to wait till later. They didn't really want to go see it yet. And I had just
By the way,
read the
we
novel,
want to say hi to
so-
Six, who has
Hey,
joined
Six.
us, by the way.
And yeah, so I had just read the novel, so like I was like hyped for this fucking. Like you have no idea how hyped I was for this movie. And
I was too, but I was already in the army. I was like, wait, 92. I was 28 when this came out.
so my older cousin takes us up to the box office and gives the money for the ticket because this is opening night screening, and we're at there, and he goes 2 for these guys for Dracula, and the lady at the box office goes, "Are you sure that they're going to be into this?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, they're into all sorts of horror shit. I know it's rated R. That's why I'm here. Blah 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 blah." And she's like, "That's not quite what I mean," or something like that. I don't remember exactly how she put it, but we should have known that was kind of a red flag then for us as a young kid, because I'll tell you, the first time. Well, it's not just that part. I like after I saw the film, I was like, this was the first time I felt like I was lied to by a trailer. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this movie now, but after my first viewing of it, this reminds me of what you said about Blade Runner earlier. Like, I hated it after the first time I saw it. I'm like, what the fuck was this? This was not what the trailer. Like, I thought I was getting a heavy metal vampire movie, and it is what the trailers were kind of. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
bad
was really good.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell is this? This was like a fucking Victorian love story shit. What the hell? I was so mad because, like I said, I just read the novel, so all the stuff at the front end and the back end of the movie isn't the book.
Yep.
So I'm just like, what the fuck, Francis? And then the middle is mostly the book. So I'm just like, I'm scratching my head. Of course, then I'm just like, what the fuck is a 12-year-old? I was just mad because it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be.
But
as I got a
still
little
like
older,
the titty.
and every time I keep watching, well, yeah, that was very impressionable on me at that time. But of course, I watched it when it came out on video. I liked it a little better the second time when I can kind of review it in a way that I kind of already knew what I was, had my expectations changed, or however you want to put it, tempered my expectations again. And then eventually, after seeing it, over time, probably 20 times over the last few years, I just watched it again here like 2 weeks ago. Right. It's one of those movies I revisit maybe once a year, every other year, if not. I mean, it's just one of those movies. It just great cast. It's well done. It's probably my favorite Dracula adaptation. I know it varies from the actual book, but at the end of the day, I love what Francis did by mixing the Vlad the Impaler storyline with it. And then the ending, we'll get to that when we get near it. But
well, there
Tom
was a
Waits'
different
Renfield
ending.
is great,
there
too.
was a different ending, and
Yeah,
they
we'll get to that,
reshot the
yeah.
ending.
Yeah, I
And
was gonna
they
say,
were
we'll
nervous
get
about doing the reshoot because Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman got along great at the beginning and then hated each other.
Oh, I'll get
and then
to
they
that.
had to bring him back. Yeah. So, but we got another one of our friends is here today, Sandra Hammerslag. Slasher Fred is here. Tom, the other Tom, of course, is here. Kingsport Cal, our favorite number in the world is 6, is here. My good buddy Parrot Head is here. Let's see. Oh, War Monkey is here too. I want to make sure I'm getting. Mike is here too. Look, Mike is here. And so we've actually got a really good active chat going on right now. And for once, we have almost the same amount of people on YouTube as we have on Twitter, because we had a crap load of people that watch the show on Twitter. But I want to point out one of the greatest performances in this film outside of Anthony Hopkins and Gary Oldman is Tom Waits here. And Tom Waits is the guy who had a huge influence on how I did my vocals with Cohen's Ghost. If
And I
never
still don't
listened
know
to
what the fuck he's got on his hands.
They are gloves designed to keep you from scratching yourself or others.
Oh. I don't see how that works, but okay.
Yeah, they're strapped onto where he can't bend his fingers backwards to take them off. And they have to be unlocked from the wrist in order to take them off. That's what they were.
For babies,
Sorry.
you just put a stack over the entire hand.
Yeah,
The
like I don't.
babies don't
Yeah,
need to handle stuff. He needs to handle stuff, so you put individual sacks over the tips of his fingers. to just cover the nails.
I just got to tell you, Tom Waits' performance as Renfield was for the ages. I fucking love this performance
He is
as
awesome.
this character.
By the
He
way,
is a better
I
actor than he is a singer or a songwriter.
okay, Six has gifted us with her custom super stickers. One from Anima, this one, the rose, of course, and the one for you. You know what it is.
It's poop. I know it's poop.
Exactly. That it is. So we owe her. Oh my God! There's a
Is
third
that
one
another rose?
now. And Peaches. Yeah, the third one is Peaches. So
I thought
we
it
owe
was
her.
That means the butt. When you see peaches, that means the butt.
Okay, let me find. Oh, let's run videos, clips from this movie. Okay, okay, Six. Here we go.
And that you will enjoy your stay in my beautiful land. Your friend, D.
There we go. Oceans of Time.
What is okay?
I have crossed oceans of time to find you.
Best
Which is-
line in there.
That is the line you said sold Gary Oldman on the film.
Yes, and what's the line that when I was in the theater, I saw that line and I was this is this movie. That's it.
And by the way,
finally-
somebody brought up the hair. Oh, go ahead.
Oh my God, Six has given us more. Another super sticker.
Okay,
from
now they're
10
throwing this
of
good over
$10.
here,
Oh my
Gary.
God.
Parrot head.
Thank you. Yes, the super sticker is what I believe is a Shiba Inu with a heart. And oh my God, Parrot Head gave us a super chat. A super chat with a with a bridge.
There you go.
Oh my
for
goodness.
him, let's give him the. This is one of my favorite moments in the film.
Eat, feast.
Cut the fucking head off, and then the next scene it's like fucking carving roast beef. By the way, your video stopped working, Martin.
Yeah, I'm having connection problems.
I found her wedding dress so weird at first, and then Gary said, "Wait till they cut her head off, then it's going to look awesome."
That's why it's there. It's for the head cutting.
Yeah. Because when she's still alive, that thing looks ridiculous. That collar, it's like a wheel. But for cutting the head off, it works.
For Parrot Head, I'm going to give him Martin and me arguing.
What about you, Rodriguez? You got anything to say?
Yes, sir, but it's very difficult, sir, and I don't think you'll understand.
Well, try me. Let me hear.
Okay, sir. Mire, jefe, yo no sabía que yo iba a trabajar más fuerte que el caballo de mi tío. El pobre se cayó muerto de tanto trabajar.
We were.
And do we owe any more videos? Because I want to get back to the film.
Oh yes. We owe 2 videos to Six.
All right, this one's for Six.
This evening is ruined. Look, wait, what? This evening is ruined. The whole evening is ruined. Why are you saying it like that? Saying what? I'm just pointing out the party's ruined. You know what? I'm not going to get sucked into this.
Not going to get sucked into this. Sexy talk. And this one's for her.
Oh, I'm as gay as it gets.
You're gonna make some guy very happy someday.
Oh, from your lips.
Oh, the movie we kind of talked about for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kinda, sorta.
Are
Maybe 6
we?
minutes for Crystal.
How are we on the slideshow? Is you want me
All
to
I
go
see is Winona
further?
Ryder right now, and it says it's playing, but it's not moving.
It is. No, it's
I
not. It was for me, but now it's not.
Well, Winona is very stunted.
Tom, there was this time when I got so high at a party that they paused the movie Deuce Bigalow, where the guy's hanging upside down, where Deuce Bigalow is hanging upside down before he breaks the tank. He's just hanging there, and he paused in the middle of it, and I was so high I didn't realize they paused it. And then after about 5 to 6 minutes, I went, "This is the longest scene I've ever watched." Everyone laughed, and I was like, "What are you laughing at? Why is this scene so long?" And then they hit play, and I went, "Oh, you paused it." What the fuck was going on? So, while Martin tries to figure out these technical difficulties of living south of the border,
Says the man with farmland internet.
well, he's not wrong. I live south of the border, and that might explain why my internet is the way it is.
I will show you. This scene alone is why Anthony Hopkins should have gotten an Oscar.
Guard well, Mr. Morris. Do not fail here tonight. We are dealing with forces beyond all human experience and enormous power. So guard her well. Otherwise, your precious Lucy will become a bitch of the devil. A whore of darkness.
And that is also my official Wednesday hump day video from this day forward.
He really made this part his own in that.
Yes,
like,
he did.
There's so much of this that he added. And he really changed the character in a lot of ways. I mean, before this, he's normally like more like a Sherlock Holmes type than he.
Yeah.
When he shows up, like, this guy is clearly the type of guy that would be into this shit.
Okay, I need to know at what point we're more or less.
We're at about 17 minutes.
Arabian
so
Nights.
Go to 20.
Arabian.
We had already gone to
Okay.
the party. We're after the party. We're done with the party. So now they're meeting
This is
in the
probably
morning.
good.
And this is a great moment because Dracula is comes to them through this storm, and it's creepy because the eyes are in the sky watching them. And she had just received an odd letter from Jonathan saying that he plans to stay in Romania for 30 days.
Yeah, because the Count wants him to teach him the British ways, and the letter's just so cold.
Well, that's what he
difficult for
says.
him. Yes.
Yeah,
because
that's what he
can't follow
says,
the
but he
truth.
leaves. He leaves, trapping him there so he can get his woman. Yeah, the classic scene of the Demeter is actually very short. And that's why it was such prime pickings to do as a film, and they fucked it up.
It's a weird name for that boat bringing Dracula. You know who Demeter is.
Well, it's based
right?
on a real story of a boat that crash landed. I don't think it was the Demeter, though.
Demeter is the goddess of agriculture and fertility, and one of the mother goddesses of the ancient Greek people. So it's weird to name a ship that brings death, basically.
And by the way, I looked it up, Tom. The BBC 1977 movie with Louis Jourdan as Dracula is considered the most accurate adaptation of the book. But I didn't like it. I didn't like Jourdan as Dracula.
Yeah, that's what I said. As far as I know, it's supposed to be the most accurate as far as being close to the book.
Now, Martin brought up something earlier that I am a fan of, is the 1973 Dracula with Jack Palance, which was directed by Dan Curtis, the guy who brought us Dark Shadows. And it's a crazy movie if you've ever seen it. Jack Palance as Dracula? Oh my fucking God. Talk about overacting. Nobody could overact like Jack Palance.
He's Jack Palance.
I know.
That's what I do.
Nobody could overact like him, and I love him. Every fucking role he's ever played. I fucking love the guy, but he's
Oh,
overacting.
Carl Gleason was awesome.
Oh yeah. And by the way, someone brought it up in the chat. I saw it that the in-camera effect of flying that was done in the film was really done well with miniatures as well as full-size sets, even when Dracula is flying. And Anima was like, "What an impractical outfit!" You know, her gown and what do they call that? The overcoat of the nightgown. And what a wild nightgown. That girl sleeps in that.
Yeah, that's a lot of cloth. I mean, then they leave half of it outside.
And Anima's like, "Why did they leave it?" And that's when I said it. That's when I said it. This because it's in the script. She had to leave it because it's in the script.
I love it when you're funny like that.
Yeah.
Good thing I'm off camera. I'm rolling my eyes sore when you make jokes.
This
like
is
that.
a dark and naughty moment right here, and there is some nip slip in this scene. I hope we get that covered.
Not anymore. This is
you were
this is
warned.
the Titted Dracula.
Thank you. I don't want to have YouTube destroy us again. I love that because she comes out and he's the werewolf version of Dracula. And he's like, "Don't see me." And then he just, from her vision, he disappears.
He's a
And,
werewolf with a bat's nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a bat's nose.
But later, when he meets her in the street, he wants her to see him, and she says, "Now you see me." That's so good.
Yes. "See me now." He whispers. By the
And
way,
she's not
I
kind
like
at
that movie,
first.
Martin. D-Bud. I like that movie, Bronk. It's a good film. Very violent.
Wasn't a show? I don't remember.
I don't
at this
remember. I
time.
just remember watching it when I was young. And it's not the only violent thing he did. He did a movie right around 70, 71 that was very violent. Top action film. And again, this is something that was brought up a few days back that Coppola did the opening of this scene with the actual hand crank camera.
Oh my God, Sander.
It was Michael Jackson. And this is the Dracula that all the women fell in love with this movie. Is this look at my daughter nodding her head.
Yep, that's what I was saying.
When they saw Gary Oldman as this version of Dracula, they're like, "Oh yeah,
If it wasn't for this movie, we wouldn't have Twilight and shit. Guaranteed. This movie made vampires sexy as fuck. And that's what feeds into the ending, because this movie got reshot. It wasn't because they actually, it was done. It was shot. It was over with. Francis had succeeded. He got the movie in under budget, on time, and they did a test screening. And the audience liked the movie, but they hated the ending. And Francis is just like, "What do you do? That's the ending. That's the book. That's how it ends." And he just couldn't figure out what the hell was wrong. And so he had the original screenwriter come in and watch the movie. And the screenwriter comes out of the movie, and Mike Mignola was in this conversation, I believe.
He was.
He says, "You got a problem. Problem is you made Dracula the hero of your movie."
Yes.
He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, clearly the audience doesn't want her with Jonathan, right? That's what the test cards say." They're like, "Yeah, they didn't want them to end up together at the end." "Yeah, because you made Dracula the hero." So they're like, "So what the fuck do we do?" Because not only that, as you pointed out, Geary, Francis is freaking out. He's like, "We can't do reshoots now because I can't get those two in the same fucking room together."
Yeah, they don't like each other.
and how do we conform this, right? Because basically he's like, what you have to do is have her do it, right? You have to have it be like this sacrificial kind of thing, almost like the end of Nosferatu. I doubt that's what they brought up, but that's kind of where it gets to a point where they basically don't wind up quote unquote together, but they're together for eternity and damnation or whatever you want to call it, because she cuts his head off. And then I don't know how you guys interpret it, but I always interpret it from the ceiling is that she killed herself following that. And so they were together forever in wherever, hell or heaven, whatever, because now he's been set free and she's no longer under his spell, and so she can make her own choice. End of movie. So that's how they fixed it. And it's really kind of, that's the only time you can kind of tell it's a reshoot is when Keanu's like, no, our work is done. Here's where her work begins. That is like one of the worst fucking bits in the whole movie. And that's basically where the reshoots begin. There's a few little things here throughout that they kind of filled in to kind of lead up to it a little bit more. But yeah, so all that kind of happened at the last minute because they're just like, fucking audience hated the ending. And it's like, well, they just ended the movie just like it is in the book. The guys go in, kill him. And that's it, right? Like, I mean, it's a little bit more.
I think they're both free.
You don't think they're both free?
I want to think that they're both free.
Oh, you want to? Okay, yeah. And see, that's kind of the way I interpret it. Is
back, and she is free from his influence because she's been hearing him and she was reading him, and he was shocked to find that she could read him. The connection they had was too much even for him. So I really want to think that by killing him and releasing him, that set her free too. And she could.
That's what I was saying.
Whatever that might be.
And then I think afterwards she ends up killing herself, and that's why they show that mural on the ceiling again.
Yeah, that's not what I want to think.
Well, the way I interpreted that is that that's not her, that's Elizabeth.
Yeah, but I always looked at her, and that was the whole reason. She's the reincarnation of Elizabeth. Yeah. She's his second chance. That's why. That's the thing. I think they kind of they really reinforced with the new ending. But then the funniest part of the story is how they got Winona and him back in the same room together. He was all for it. He was fine because he's a consummate professional. He's like, yeah, no problem. Winona wasn't so easy. She was resistant up to the point where Francis goes, well, you get to cut his head off.
That's right. It was the decapitating Gary Oldman was why she was in.
She's like, all right.
So yeah, to me, she is the reincarnation, and then by killing him, she fulfills that destiny, and now she gets to be herself and have her own life. She was destined
maybe. I mean, however you want to see it.
Now she can be herself. I like that way.
I just don't see her really going for Harker after.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
No.
At that point, I think she has seen eternal love, and she knows she's going to be nothing but miserable until the day she dies. So I think,
which was typical for the period. Yeah. You know, women were miserably married.
Well, and that's the thing, because Dracula is not supposed to be a love story. It's never meant to be a love story. The only love story is between Jonathan and her, right? Like, really. Otherwise, the whole idea
the Hammer films did very well.
Yeah, well, the whole idea of Dracula is he's a warning of the plague and sexual venereal disease, or however you want to put it. So, like, that's what it always has kind of been. And, you know, Nosferatu really played up the plague part of it. But, like, I mean, that's...
With the rats, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how in this latter part of the 20th century we decided to flip things around and go, oh, no, they're sexy creatures. You can fuck them now.
Because there's something central to vampires.
That's the miniature right there, by the way.
Well, they're like the ultimate goth bad boy, too. That's the other thing. Now they're their own sexuality. Like, people think they're vampires as a sexual kink now.
Oh, yeah.
Sparkly.
That I was going to say, I think you can thank Twilight more so for that.
Don't even get me started.
I can blame Twilight, and you can also blame Underworld.
This is for Anima.
But don't get me started. Don't even get me started.
But this is where it all started here.
I hate the fucking sparkly vampires. They
well, he even says it in this scene. Van Helsing, he says, you can say that civilization and civilization grew together. I love that.
Yeah. I love Van Helsing in this one. This is probably this is my favorite one all around, but Bela Lugosi will always be my favorite Dracula, but
there are three great Van Helsings. One is Peter
They're all
Cushing.
good. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins and Hugh Jackman.
What?
How?
Oh, I hate that
you
movie.
went there. You
Don't
went
get
there.
No.
fuck off. Hugh Jackman is the best.
I
According-
took you to that fucking movie.
He's like the farthest away from who he really
suffered.
is.
I took you to that movie, Zoe.
Oh,
And
Kitty.
I
He's so
suffered
hot,
for
and
love
all
for
of
you.
the women vampires. Oh, that's when I knew I could have crushes on girls, because I had crushes on every single girl.
My daughter is hots for Hugh Jackman right now. She's like, Daddy, you need to download every single one of them. She just
It's
watched
hard not to have the hots for him. Come on, guys.
Australia.
Let's be
Like
real.
seriously.
Just
Horrible
ruin it for her.
movie.
Be like, you know why he got
Impossible.
divorced, right, honey? Because he's gay.
Is that why? What?
You watched.
No.
She watched the.
But that's been
Great
a rumor for
Oldman.
years.
Wasn't it
years
Family
and
Guy that
years.
like made the gag that he's been like hiding from his own sexuality?
I think I was gonna say if Family Guy did a joke about it, then that means the rumor is more than a rumor, probably.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Allegedly! That was a
Allegedly.
Yeah, because I don't even like Family Guy, but
Whoa.
I will
News
admit
from
that
Penny.
Family Guy was there first when it comes to Cosby, Weinstein, and so many other things. So
Yeah. They might be on the nose with that one.
Anyway, I was joking.
It's
I don't-
okay.
well, they weren't.
I don't really like. No. About Van Helsing.
No,
Oh,
I can't
no,
be
you
the
just
only
I'm
broke her
going to
little
point out
heart.
that one of my
Oh,
favorite
but
things
still,
in this is when they meet Van Helsing for the first time, and they're like, "Who is this guy? He's a doctor?" Because he's so fucking weird.
I know. I love that he
Wait,
made him so
awesome.
weird. That's what I mean by Anthony Hopkins kind of doing his own thing with it. Like just
The
I mean-
good part about him playing Van Helsing, he is like this mad, crazy kind of a doctor with all the tools and everything, and it really fits with the quacks of the Victorian era
Yeah.
back then.
well, they never really even get into the kind of Dr. Seward kind of is too. I mean,
Yeah.
in this
Seward's
movie,
insane and a drug addict. Yeah,
I was gonna say in the book, I'm trying to remember. I don't think there's much of that in the book. I think that Van Helsing and him are more contemporaries, if I remember right in the book.
He
No,
was
it's
a
more.
student.
Yeah,
He was
it's more
a
like
student.
snakes.
He
and-
was, but like it wasn't like this whole love thing with him and him having a fucking drug addiction, and I think that was all added for this, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but
No, but
it has
even-
literally been like 30 years since I've read the book, guys. You got to forgive me.
Dude,
But-
the fact that he gave Lucy transfusion from 3 different guys without testing the blood.
Well, that's a new thing. He basically invented it. That was the whole. Did you not catch that?
He
So of course
mentioned
it-
it.
and
He
it
mentioned
was
it,
still
though.
experimental,
No.
but maybe the transfusion killed her.
No,
It's
he
like, have you
says
done this
sometimes-
before?
He says that sometimes the blood doesn't work, so I just assumed he would go and test before giving it to her because he was aware.
No.
They didn't know about RH factors
No.
in the 1800s.
It was all trial and errors. If
And
it
at that
works,
point, it
works.
didn't matter because she was Nosferatu, so it was just basically like
Yeah, she's already gone too
when you're
far.
hooked up to a food bag or whatever you call it.
And it's such a gruesome scene, her death, because he comes as a wolf and you see the thing lapping at her neck, and it is so fucking wild.
And she doesn't
But-
look like she's in pain. She's looking like she has an orgasm, to be honest.
I love the speeding up of the camera when Carrie Elways' character gets knocked across the room, because it really adds to the violence of how fast he's knocked across that room. When Dracula comes in for the final time to kill Lucy.
Yep.
Oh, and I missed out when they had the rotating wall too, right? When they have the one that Dracula walks on and Jonathan's escaping from.
Yep.
When he's trying to escape from the castle. Yeah, that's how they did that. It's just a
And that's
same
real
effect as
absinthe
Fred Astaire in Nightmare on Elm
that
Street.
they
yeah.
drank back then. In the 1800s, that shit would fucking even potentially kill you. That had wormwood in it. And that shit would fuck you up.
That was dangerous, yeah.
It's like LSD level shit.
Oh yeah, that gave you hallucinations and stuff.
Vlad the Impaler.
You know how it got made illegal, right? That a man went home after drinking absinthe one night and murdered his family. And so the Puritanicals said it was the absinthe, not the fact that he was a murderous cocksucker.
Kind of like the last time a gun jumped up and bit me.
Yeah, right. And you brought up Family Guy, and American Dad did one of my favorite jokes about that.
Oh, I liked American Dad, yeah.
When the daughter says, "Guns kill," and he goes, "Oh, really?" And he puts the gun on the table. "Go ahead, kill her. Go ahead." Huh, nothing's happening. It's like, oh my God. Seth MacFarlane made a good joke about guns.
Sorry, I had to do that because I watched the debate last night, so I thought I'd get that jab in there. But no, anyway.
What was your reaction, by the way? We don't have to get into it. Just curious.
Oh, I said it on Twitter already. Waltz hasn't gone down that hard since Mr. Ed was in town.
There you go. That guy looked like a deer in headlights the whole fucking debate. And Vance was so on his fucking game,
checking their
they muted him because he was correct.
And he was right anyway. That was the funny part. But yeah, so,
he was completely right. And I thought that was funny as hell. So anyway,
I love that when he was like,
I've had
my favorite part though is like when he's like, "That's not how it's written." It's like, well, then how is it written? And he wouldn't answer. He was just reading it word for word.
Besides, Charlton Heston said it best. Guns don't kill people. Apes with guns kill people.
Apes with guns kill people. Oh my God, Mephisto.
Those damn dirty apes.
Damn dirty apes. You're
Robert
right.
Williams joke, but it's fucking funny.
That is hilarious.
Oh my God.
You
Where the fuck were we? Oh, I was saying hi to Ryan. Ryan Oldchow is here. What's up? And of course, I noticed just now, Peter.
Oh, here's the scene I was just talking about. So I didn't miss this one.
Oh, where he's escaping.
This is a rotating room, is what they're using. Yeah, so it's the same effect they used in Nightmare on Elm Street and the Fred Astaire movies.
The whole point of this, reality doesn't work in Dracula's castle.
He doesn't have gravity there. Yeah, it doesn't work the same way.
Yeah,
it's a reality issue. So let's
There's
see.
gravity for Keanu for sure, but not for everybody else.
Whoa.
Oh,
he's coming. Yeah. He's gonna suck our blood.
You know, was it Speed that he lost the whoa bit?
He tried so hard during Speed, yes, to not fall into the "I'm Keanu Reeves" because he had that problem for. It was just like, dude, shake it. He couldn't shake the surfer lingo.
He couldn't even shake it in The Matrix because The Matrix also has a whoa.
Well, I think he leaned into it, but yeah,
deliberate. Yeah, it was deliberate.
No, but in Speed, he like deliberately talks like this through the whole movie.
Yeah.
I love Keanu Reeves. I make fun of him because I love him.
Yeah, because I'm such a fan of his work, but it's a love poke. Love poke. That's
he could be worse things we could be making fun of him for, right?
Yeah,
like Diddy.
Oh,
you don't even want to get me started on that.
Don't even get me started.
Don't even get me started. You look different. Yeah, because she got laid, bitch. by an agent of the devil.
Mighty laid out in the garden.
In a Gata Davida style.
Martin, can you pause it for a second? I want to show an image.
Bong.
Bong.
There you go.
She's a slut in waiting. There's a difference.
No. She already got nailed.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. She's been nailed.
Dracula was humping the fuck out of her.
On that stone table in the garden.
Sorry.
There it is.
There's a child present.
This is one of the most beautiful matte paintings used in this film. Look at that. It looks like the king sitting on a throne, the way it's designed.
If Nicolas Cage and Keanu did a movie together, I think my mind would explode.
Like, what the fuck would
If we
happen
don't
in
work
that movie?
together, we won't save the world. I don't want to save the world. I want to watch it burn. Why should I help you?
Hey,
I'd rather take your face off.
Oh, dude.
Just Face Off.
Renfield 2, but Renfield is not Nicholas Hoult anymore. He's Keanu Reeves.
He's Keanu Reeves.
You can't go around just killing people.
Here's a question. For the new Nosferatu, what was your reaction to having
Willem
Dafoe come into the film, this time playing the Doctor?
I still wish he was playing Nosferatu, because you didn't like, that was the beauty of, because we just talked about this last weekend with Shadow of the Vampire. That was the beauty of that film. Motherfucker has no makeup hardly. Do you realize how much makeup Max Schreck has on compared to what Willem Dafoe doesn't?
Including the skull cap, because he accentuated the bones.
All you have to do is paint him white and give him ears and teeth. He's Nosferatu.
That's right.
Just like I said, why did you put him in a stupid mask, Raimi? Just paint him green and give him a hood. He's the Green Goblin. Like, you don't have to try hard.
Oh, I'm not the only one who hated the fucking suit?
Oh, that mask is so stupid. I'm sitting here going, like, that's the only thing I really didn't care for in the Raimi film. I'm like,
same.
You literally have a guy where all you got to do is give him pointy Spock ears and a pointy nose and a pointy chin, and he looks like you don't have to do nothing else but paint him green, and he looks like the Goblin. Literally, like you plucked him out of the pages of the comic book, and like God made this creature for you and said, "Here's Willem Dafoe. Do with him as you will." He will save you so much money in makeup.
The man can play Frankenstein's monster. Just put 2 plugs in his neck.
Yeah, he had like some stitches on. He's the best part of that crappy movie. But yeah.
Martin, can you hear me?
Yes.
The video isn't playing.
Oh, because you didn't tell me.
I thought we
I
had.
did. I messaged you and I said it out
We're never
loud.
getting through this movie. We've already been 2 hours into the show, and we're only 20 minutes into the movie. I got to get back to work, man.
We enjoy talking too much is the problem.
I was actually going to say, I need to get off of here.
Me too.
Oh, you're so full of crap.
You
You
don't
don't have
coming
a
on,
life.
so I apologize for that.
Excuse you. I have things that I have to do for my Etsy shop now. So thank you very much.
Even look, I'm going to tell everybody now while she's here. Her boyfriend made up.
You
doesn't
are your
exist.
dad's
She
kid.
Whatever.
lives alone in a basement, and that's it. She has cats.
Actually, they're my boyfriend's cats, technically. So, yeah.
Sure. Okay, hon. All right,
You
baby.
saw Kevin earlier.
The cat's on you, so you know that, right?
Yeah, that's true. I think you might be able to hear Kevin meowing at me right now. He wants food.
Anyway, get going, sweetheart. I love
All right.
you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
good
popping
chatting
in.
with y'all. Have a good one, guys. How do I leave?
Don't forget, visit her site. You just exit the studio. It says just
Word.
leave
Okay, I see
studio.
it now.
All
Bye-bye.
right, bye, baby.
Bye.
Want to share her link out again?
What?
You can
Oh,
buy
yeah.
her art prints as stickers or art prints, or you can actually commission her. And she's very good at what she's doing. I like her artwork. Did you see it, Tom? Her artwork?
I think you showed me at least one thing before.
This is
Not
one of
that.
them. This is another.
Oh, wow.
This is one of her stickers
Excellent.
I got. I love this. It's a cutout sticker. It's great. I got this one as a sticker too. And this is her latest one.
That's
and
cute.
really, it does look like Lydia Dietz.
Yeah, I would love to see you like take on like your style.
Put it
some
on
popular
while Tom is
characters.
here. I'm not sure he was here when I said it. The
Which
ghost
one?
thing.
What? Oh, this one?
Her ghost thing. It
Yeah, I saw
looks like it's Lydia Dietz on a skateboard, but this time she's wearing the sheets instead of
sheet.
the
Yeah.
the Maitlands.
Yes. That
Yeah.
or I was going to say it looks like Beavis with a sheet.
This giant head.
Yeah, screw you. Yeah, I'm a ghost. You should be scared. Yeah, you're scared. Boo.
Is the video playing,
No.
Martin?
This sucks. Change it.
It's
Guys,
not
I need
playing
to
for
get
us.
going too.
Oh God, she's got to go to sleep and stuff like that because
It's
you know
almost midnight and I have to be up
it's
early
almost
tomorrow.
midnight. I have to be early
I-
tomorrow.
Fuck off. I have clinic with Loki, okay?
Oh, so you're the one I should be apologizing to.
What?
So go ahead, go ahead, sweetheart. I'll see you later. I love you. Both the
Have
two
fun,
women I
guys.
love in my life are leaving me.
Well, 2 hours into the show, 20 minutes into the slideshow. Please don't go on all night.
Oh, no
okay?
whining. Just go. I love you. Bye.
Fuck you. Bye. Bye, guys.
So that's her. There it is. Arachnida Arts or Arachnida Artworks at Etsy.etsy.com. So there you go. Check her so you can buy her stickers.
Oh,
You
that's
like-
that's why Anima left. The word Arachnida.
My baby girl, she's got a giant black widow. She's terrified of spiders. Got a giant black widow tattooed. It represents her mother. So,
Okay, we were a little behind, but we were at the.
he was Dracula's the fangs came out, and then we're back at Lucy. And she's really on her last legs. There we go. Hump day, where he humps his leg. That shit's funny. Fucking Anthony Hopkins humped your fucking leg. I would never wash or shave that leg ever again.
He came up with
Okay.
a dancing bit too during rehearsals. I don't know if you.
Oh, with her? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm glad he did because that made that scene.
And the
for me.
smelling her. Yeah, that was all Anthony. And he's like, I'm gonna smell her like I know she's been with him. Because I can smell it on her. And then that whole line with, you are the light. Yeah.
This scene is really cool too. The animation done in this scene, the quick cuts, moving and then suddenly it's cut, moving and then cut again. Oh, it's just fucking great. Coppola outdid himself in this movie. Here we see their wedding ceremony done before Greek Orthodox priests.
Which is a bit stupid because Romanians are Catholic.
Classic Catholic, not Orthodox Catholic.
Yeah.
You see the Orthodoxy in Russia and Greece. That's pretty much it.
I think in Bulgaria too, but I'm not sure.
Really? I didn't.
I
don't know about
that. Eastern Europeans of that area, so Moldova, Romania, and Poland are Catholic.
Whereas in London, you wouldn't have that here.
No,
or did
you've
she
got-
fly over to him or go over by boat to see him? I can't remember. Where is that wedding supposed to be? Romania?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
They are where because he was at. Okay,
that was where he was at. So it's Romania.
He was at not the sanitarium, but he was at the
rescued by nuns.
Or no, what? Yeah, no, he was rescued by nuns, and then she went to see him, which I don't think happens in the novel. I think in the novel, most of that stuff all ends up transpiring at the sanitarium.
I want to point out the kissing was so weird because that's not what you would see normally in a wedding ceremony, that kind of kissing. And I believe that because it was red, it was being heightened because of the passion from Dracula that caused that. I'm not even sure if it actually happened that way. If that was alluding to the fact that was almost in her mind, the way they were kissing.
See, and the things I think they added or beefed up in the reshoots would have been the bits where like she's like, Jonathan can never know about my prince and all that shit. And some of that kind of stuff, basically, where she is clearly making the choice now, and it's not just that she's under his spell. And then the whole bit where he's, then you got the bit afterwards where he's all upset here too. I don't know if that's new or not, but that was like, I think that was definitely, something Oldman added. Because I don't think he was supposed to have that makeup on in that scene. That was one of the 3 extra makeups that he had.
Mr. Makeup said he helped cause.
Yeah.
I like this scene. It is the man himself because he sees him young. And Dracula's angry that he's back. Like somehow Jonathan Harker has tainted his blood bride. So I will point out that they've been married, that they have probably consummated the marriage. And that is probably really why he's angry. This whole scene is fucking whack. I love it.
I love Cary Elves, but he needs to have a specific role for him. Otherwise, it's just he's been in some really awful movies. So he needs to like be in a good, like solid British acting role. Otherwise, it's
too bad he didn't have a cameo in Dracula Dead and Loving It where he just popped on and said, I can do Jonathan Harker with a British accent.
That's right. It's real. I gotta say something about him, because the other day I was in a conversation with, I'm not sure it was Anna, but it was one of my female friends or her. And they said, well, you know, Cary Elwes is really good at putting on the English accent. He's not from England. And I said, yes, he is. He's from Manchester.
Yeah.
He's completely fucking British. Yes, that's not fake. It's a real
Actually,
English
you had to
accent.
correct me on that too, because I didn't know he was. I thought he was American.
Yeah, he's from Manchester. Maybe it was you that I remember
say it was me
correcting.
you had
He's
to
from
correct.
Manchester.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it was you.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
it
know.
surprised me
because
because I'm like, he's so convincing as an American, like House,
or at least Canadian,
now,
if not.
My God, this scene when she turns and drops the child, and that kid was really crying. That kid was terrified in this scene.
This took him a lot to get done. This is all in the making of it. Yeah. With that poor kid.
And by the way,
I think it was probably one of
Francis's
grandkids or something, but yeah.
It was. The things that you hear him saying are from the book of possession in the Catholic Church. We have compelled by his power. Oh, I forget the line. You were compelled by his power and his might. You were compelled by his power and his might. Is from the one of the prayers that's given during exorcism. And so what he's doing,
the power
he is
of Christ
exercising the demonic nature of the vampire, and which is why she finally falls back into a coma, and now they can freely kill her. Which they do. They put an iron stake, by the way, not a wooden stake, an iron stake through her heart, and they cut her head off, and then they have to burn the body.
There's a lot of differences between what kind of got into pop culture when it comes to vampires. So in this one, I think when Gary Oldman is in that sexy phase, he's out in the open and during daylight. Where later on,
well, because he was able to go out. He was weaker.
We actually talked about this before because Nosferatu actually added a lot to the mythos that wasn't there before, like sunlight.
Yeah, so the sunlight
and stuff
part
like that
comes in, and it's weird between the different like vampire or specifically Dracula movies where it's a little bit different. I think Bela Lugosi's version was also like a sun. He was scared of the sun, but it didn't really burn him, so he can shapeshift into something else.
They barely address it because most of it's on sets.
Yeah.
So,
he's not really shapeshifting because it's all like light and shadow and stuff.
The only time he does is when he turns into the bat or whatever, and even then it's kind of...
As I recall in the book, that he
does turn into a wolf, but they just say
strength.
Yeah.
He's at his highest strength at night. And he is weaker during the day, but he did walk around. And I like the way they show it. He's wearing blue glasses to help with his eyes.
Yeah.
Because that goes back to film, by the way, which you brought up, Tom. that the night scenes that were shot for Nosferatu were shot with blue lenses in the camera, and then a blue filter later.
Well, yeah, and they used to do day for night and all that kind of stuff too. That's how they used to do that. Yeah. Which I think
I
is
love
horrible looking, but
Tom Waits is so good as Renfield, and he kisses her hand.
No,
The
master, I
tells
didn't.
me about you. I love this. Oh my god. This film had some of the best performances from every actor except for Keanu.
And I feel bad for him because he was just casted out of his league. It is not his fault. As much shit as I give him for it, as much shit as I give him for whatever. Like, yeah, this was Johnny Depp's role that was given to him. And
because he was in another period piece years before in the 80s with John Malkovich. What was that movie? It's where they play the game on the girl to trick her. Oh, I'll have to look it up. God damn it. I fucking hate this one.
I'm trying to, yeah. But yeah, no, it's just
You
sad.
mean the one with Michelle Pfeiffer in it?
Yes, yes.
I know the movie. I forgot the name.
I was going to say it kind of sounded familiar, but
it's like sort of not Victorian.
Dangerous Liaisons.
Dangerous Liaisons.
Which was remade later as a contemporary piece.
Who was in that with Michelle?
That was John Malkovich.
John
Keanu
Malkovich,
Reeves.
Yeah. Keanu was in that too? Okay. Yeah.
What's her name is in it too? Ugly bitch. Fuck.
Glenn Close.
Glenn Close. Can't stand that bitch. Oh. There's the costume. This is my
I love
favorite
that.
costume.
See, and this is what they showed in the trailer and shit with the music and stuff. The way they made it look, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get a kick-ass fucking Dracula horror movie. Right? You know, the guy who made The Godfather is gonna be badass. You know, like an Apocalypse Now.
Right.
And it was. At the end of the day, I just wasn't prepared for what it was. I don't know what my little 12-year-old brain was expecting and what I got out of it, other than a sexual awakening because of those few scenes where she's writhing around and
funny in places. I love
Made
that
me
they
feel
brought
funny.
the mist in because that was brought up in the book that he
Yes.
could travel by mist. And by the way, the white snake in this scene is a reference to another piece by Bram Stoker's called The Lair of the White Worm. And was adapted into a late 80s movie with I think it's the first film with Hugh Grant.
Yeah, Tom Baker. It's I don't know if you guys got into any of how this movie came about or not to begin with, but this was not something Francis was going to do at first. Like, it was totally not even on his radar. But him and Winona Ryder had a bit of a falling out after Godfather 3, the whole incident there that happened.
Which is hard because they're family. She is in the Coppola family.
I don't know. I didn't know they were related. But what happened was is she was supposed to play the daughter, and she got burnt out at that time, and she dropped out of the movie. So Francis ended up hiring his daughter, and of course, that's a whole nother story. But so afterwards, they finally talked it over and got back to good. And she goes, "I got this." And then she goes, "The reason I'm really reaching out to you, besides to patch things up, is I got this Dracula project that came across, she got the script or whatever, or screenplay. And she said, I think you'd be perfect for it. And he's like, Dracula? I love Dracula. He's like, I've read the book like 50 times. And she's like, really? He's like, yeah, I used to read it every year when I used to be a camp counselor at this one camp. And to scare the little boys to go to bed, I would read a chapter of Dracula every night. So it got to be a thing where he knew the book inside and out. And so it was just one of those perfect marriages, and it just happened to be there, patching up. Well, of course, Winona, her only big thing, she wanted Johnny in the movie because they were dating at the time. In fact, were they married? No, I don't think they ever got married, did they?
Forever, remember that?
No.
Sorry, what was that, Mephisto?
I said, why no forever?
Yeah, no shit, right? Yeah, anyway, so he was cast. He was in the movie. And then all of a sudden the studio, as we brought up earlier, got cold feet, and they're like, we don't know if we can sell this movie with this Johnny Depp kid. Nobody, he's just on 21 Jump Street. No one knows who he is. And they wanted Keanu Reeves because he was a bit bigger name at the time, and they got their way. And Winona was pissed. She almost left the project. She even came in and she was like, Francis, I thought you were supposed to be the biggest director of all time. Why is Johnny out of the movie? And he's like, my hands are tied. The studio wouldn't sign off on him. They were too afraid that he wasn't going to help sell the picture. So I don't think it would have mattered. I think nobody would have cared. In fact, I think it would have helped the movie elevate it even farther. In fact, it's probably one of the reasons why it didn't get taken as seriously as it did. And I hate, and not blaming it on Keanu. I blame it on the studio for pushing that onto Francis. And he wanted to play ball so well that he didn't push back hard enough, right? So, I mean, I'm sure if he would have really, really pushed, they probably would have went with him. But he really wanted to prove to these guys, because you got to remember where he was in his career at this point. He was known as the director who couldn't bring in anything in under budget and on time. So,
right. By the way, this scene's so important because as she begins to drink, he pushes her away, and out of this love for her, I cannot do this to you.
And this is what I was saying. This is why it's so different. And it's a different dynamic to the whole thing.
Because that's not what happens in the book at all.
No, because he's seen as a pestilence and a plague, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's my whole point, is like, he's a warning, not a something to be coveted. And in this movie,
that crazy Irishman, Bram Stoker, and his warnings.
I'm just trying to warn you about the Scots.
Annie Lennox did do the final song at the end of this film. It's in.
Yes.
It starts right as, not during the name flash, but during the scroll. As it begins to scroll, it's
you got to understand how big of a movie this was. Like, I mean, I know this feels like some costume drama that would be an Oscar bait movie, but this was a big studio, Sony's big Christmas release that year. Like, it was the winner of the holiday season too. It kicked ass at the box office, like we said before. I don't think there's any movie bigger that year, and as Mephisto had pointed out, it's still the highest grossing vampire film of all time.
Yeah.
Even
by the way,
what about Interview with a Vampire? That didn't even gross this much?
No, nowhere near it.
I didn't think so.
I find it interesting that Nosferatu is releasing so close to the holidays.
I'm not. I know exactly why it is. Because of Oscars. Same reason this released at Thanksgiving. People forget that too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like, because I was living up there in Seattle when this came out, and I remember it being cold as fuck going to the theater.
Steven, when did you sneak in?
Yeah, just a few minutes ago. Yeah. I can only stay for a few minutes, but I wanted to stop by.
We were in the middle of an
explanation,
and I didn't want to.
You should have interrupted, man.
No, I never interrupt. So, hey, Deleted Scenes is here.
Oh, hey. Imagine that. How's everybody doing?
Better than some.
We're good. Some of us are tired.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Quincy is never in any of them.
No.
As I recall. This is the first film to have Quincy in it.
Yeah, he's a cool character. I'm glad that they finally included him in here. And they got Bill Campbell to play him, of course, from The Rocketeer.
Billy Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then he went by Billy Campbell.
Yeah.
The other Campbell, because he was in a movie with Bruce Campbell. And so we always refer to him as the other Campbell. Sort of like the other white meat.
Yeah, I rechecked. They're very close, Tom.
Really?
Yeah, adjusted
for the box office.
This one got 475, and Interview with a Vampire was 460. So
that is really close.
Wow, really close. I knew it did well. That's why I had to ask, but I
it did really well.
I thought I knew this movie was the bigger of the two, but
this one
they don't let him. They don't let him kill it.
40, I think, like not adjusted. And Interview with a Vampire did 224.
Oh wow, so that's pretty close. I knew it did like 250, so yeah, that was closer than I thought. I thought you'd be like, "Nah, it was more like 227." You're way off.
No.
Yeah, wow,
go crazy.
I'm usually pretty good with my box office numbers, so yeah, I'm not totally that impressed.
So yes, Shinatsky points it out that it was Quincy who kills Dracula in the book.
Yeah,
he's the one who delivers the death blow. to the chest.
Yeah, from my memory, what they do is he sends the guys up there, being Van Helsing sends the guys up there to his abbey, and they find his coffins. They kill his, which is in the movie. They kill his brides.
Well,
they're
also almost, but you're mixing characters.
Well, I remember they
So
line Dracula's
kill
coffin with
his helpers, and they're killing
that's
them
what I meant,
all the way up to the castle.
the gypsies. That's right.
It is
Yeah,
Van Helsing that
who kills the brides?
his
and then
concubine.
the boys, they all being Jonathan and see, in this movie I think they mixed Seward with one of the other suitors, because there was like 2 or 3 guys that were kind of like hanging out with the girls. Like
You had Jack Seward, Holmwood, who's
was he one of the younger characters though? That was what I was trying to remember in the book, if he was younger. 'Cause
Holmwood
I know
is
they
the one that
embellished him a
actually,
bit.
Yeah.
he's the one who actually is going to marry Lucy, is Holmwood. And then they got
Okay, so that's what I was thinking is,
Morse.
yeah, okay. So that's in the book too. Okay, never mind then. Because then they line Dracula's coffin with confirmation wafers and bless his coffin, so he can't go back to his coffin.
The minute they do that, they consecrate the soil so he cannot go back into it again. And it's basically,
and then they
killing
cut
him.
his head off and they stab him in the heart and then cut his head off. Basically, I think Jonathan does, right? Or no, was it the other one?
Quincy stabs him in the heart.
Okay, Quincy stabs him and then Jonathan cuts his head off.
He delivers the death blow that kills Dracula.
So yeah, so basically, as the way
And-
this movie went, that's how this movie was supposed to end initially, with all the guys coming in and saving the day. Like
But
basically at that
instead,
point,
they have it take place outside now.
Yeah.
Where he stabs him in the chest after he's been stabbed in the back, falls, gets knocked on his ass, and in the process, because of the bleeding from his wound, he dies. Quincy dies at the end of it, which is where we get that one of the best delivered lines in the film that I just fucking love. That line, we have all become God's madmen, every one of us.
We've all become God's madmen. All of us.
What a great fucking line. And I will tell you, I cry every time Quincy dies.
I really got to read the book again. It's been so fucking long. And I've seen so many versions of the movie, I get so much stuff crisscrossed. But basically at that point, Mina's story's over in the movie. And
it's over.
Yeah.
And they didn't
for
want
the
that.
reshoots, yeah.
Yeah, he goes
Well,
in
when
and
you-
kills those bitches, cuts their heads off.
When you bring in the love, when you add the love story element to it, you kind of have to have her there at the end at that point, because it
Well,
kind
that's
of
the problem.
ends with them. It has to end with them.
Tom was telling the story that they were getting all these negative reactions in that test screening, and so he brought the writer in, and Mike Mignola was part of that conversation. Got to see this print, and at the end of it, he says the problem is you made Dracula the hero, so the ending doesn't work right. So you made the audience love him.
Yeah.
So you have to change the ending.
Yeah.
And I've never interpreted it the way you guys did. I have always interpreted that ending is that she kills him, finishes it, looks up and sees the painting, and thinks that she has reunited him with his dead bride. And that's how I've always interpreted it.
That's fine interpretation. I mean, I can see that, and I agree with that. That could be a possible interpretation.
Because otherwise, I think the other guys would have gone in after her.
The only thing
Stop.
that doesn't really Well, I don't think they knew she was going to. That's part of the thing. But because at that point, like I said, she actually pines for him, right? Like that's the thing. She's making a conscious effort to, to be with him at that point. It's not just because she's under his spell, right? And she's saving his soul at that point because she knows she's the one that has to do it or all whatever. Like that's the way I interpret it. I could be wrong, but yeah.
I always looked at it as it depends on how much you believe in reincarnation. Do you believe that she is the reincarnation, or
she has her memories?
Yeah.
And by the way, I do want to tell people,
But that we were just debating on whether or not she actually killed herself. That was the whole thing. Because I think the way that the movie ends, it's kind of it's doing it without showing you.
I think it's ambiguous. Whereas,
yeah,
I don't. I see that as her having performed her function because she is the wife of Jonathan Harker. And
but wouldn't she be fucking miserable though for the rest of her fucking life?
That was pretty typical for women of the Victorian era. So I don't think there was a problem with that. I think she really did love Jonathan Harker.
Age of Innocence is actually a secret sequel to this.
What do they call that in legend? Fairy magic. What is it referred to in legend? Pixie dust or some shit like that. I can't remember the term. And that Dracula and the vampires have that ability to allure and create a false reality that you're taken into, and that they're gorgeous and you want them, when in fact your normal reaction would be to be repulsed by that. So I feel bad for Keanu in this role. I really do. He got thrust. Oh, here's that scene. Because he just delivered the line, we're done here. It's all up to her now. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course it shows that they also go out of their way to show that she's cleansed at the end too. Because the minute he dies, and by the way, that is he intentionally has Gary Oldman look up as Jesus does in the crucifixion painting by Michelangelo. I think it's Michelangelo. Right at the last second when he gives up the ghost, his eyes go up, look upward in his head, looks upward into the right, and he dies. And she is cleansed because you'll notice her scar disappears as he dies. It is finished. Because there was a Jesus allegory in Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula scene here, which pissed off a lot of Catholics at the time.
Well, Francis does.
There it is. The scar's gone.
People on purpose.
Yeah. So you notice the scar is gone from her head when he dies, and then she cuts his head off there, and then looks up at the painting, and that is a painting painted 400 years ago of him.
Yeah, and she realizes. Yeah, she realizes there is a reason why she was approached.
Yep. Oh man, your movie died. So I'm a big fan of this film. I really do. It's my favorite Dracula. I don't agree with Tom. I think that Gary Oldman's Dracula is better than Bella's. I love Bella.
It's just a personal thing. I mean, as far as like interpretations go, I mean, this is probably the coolest one, but
I will point this out. Oddly, the best accent doesn't belong to the guy from a Slavic nation, Bela Lugosi. It belongs to Gary Oldman, who says things exactly the way they are supposed to be said. He pronounces the name.
I was going to bring
correctly.
that up earlier, but yeah.
His accent is spot on, but he does a nod to Bela Lugosi in this. The line that is not in the book is "I never drink wine." That was a Bela line, and that was put in the film by Gary Oldman.
I never drink wine.
It was Gary Oldman as William Hurt as Dracula.
You are very wise beyond your years, Van Helsing.
I love Bella, but he
For
wasn't
a man who
threatening.
has lived one single lifetime.
I got to tell you a story though, Tom. When I was a kid, I think I was 8, and my dad went down to paint an apartment with the maintenance, because the apartments we lived in, they were subsidizing the rent off of work that he could do for the company. So he went down there, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. I was watching Creature Feature with a gentleman that we've had twice on this show, Count Gordeval, who I've been friends with for about 20 years. I love that guy. I grew up on him. He was showing Dracula that night, and I freaked the fuck out. I'm alone in that apartment in the dark watching Dracula. And I did this. I don't know if you've ever done this as a kid. You begin to bargain with the bad guy, the villain, the monster, going, boy, I'm sure on Dracula's side. Yeah. Boy, if he was here, I'd help him find women to drink blood from. Yeah, that's what I would do. Nobody? Am I the only one that bargained with Dracula?
Yep.
I bargained that night. I remember that night so clearly. And I go, so glad when Dad came home. I go, thank God, I hate Dracula. I fucking hate that guy. Yeah, he's been on. I want to have him on again. I'm going to give him a little bit before we have him back on again. But I love Count. Have you ever seen him, Count Gordeval? Any of you?
Oh, no. Yeah? Well, here on the channel.
He's one of the last surviving classic horror hosts, and he still does his show. It's available on YouTube and on his website. Good stuff, man. I love Count Gordeval.
Maybe I've seen him on here, but I don't know. I think I would have.
His real name is Dick Dysel, Richard Dysel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Great guy though, so fucking funny. He'll tell stories of girls with big boobs approaching him all the time. What is the count going to? And he still does conventions.
Yeah, from Ed Wood. Yeah.
That limey cocksucker. That's absolutely my favorite moment in that movie, Ed Wood. You were so great as Karloff's sidekick. Karloff? Fuck you. But anyway, this is a great film. I appreciate everybody coming by. We got to get out of here. Tom, thanks for dropping in, man. You stuck around. You didn't have to. I appreciate it, man.
Well, I've been kind of in the background, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. At least you're not doing your work. Mephisto, thanks all for being here, buddy.
I should be.
Yeah, no problem.
The Real McCoy. Tom says Thomas Connor Jr. on X. Martin says PCM's uber pedantic monkey, and deleted scenes can't afford subtitle. Mine says, reminder, be nicer to people. I'm a dick.
Fuck people.
So let's thank everybody that's been here today. Let's look at the list here. Martin has been kindly collecting the names. We had, of course, FKC 2005, also known as Tim. Did he get his video?
No.
Don't
do it now.
It's too late. Real Wade Nation, of course, was here. My buddy Wade. Snorter Poopus Cuber. Hello. War Monkey. Slasher Fred. Awesome one. Of course, Nadia popped in with us. Let's see. Tom Baker. Sandra Hammerschlag. Hojo was here. My buddy Hojo. If you guys don't know him, he's a veteran buddy of mine. He's also a comic book creator. And he's the one who helped me a lot with getting Vindicated going again. Penny was here. Bronson Wright Wolf. Bumpy Johnson was here. I didn't catch that. You know who Bumpy Johnson is, a great Negro gangster. And Lawrence Fishburne has gotten to play a version of him at least twice. He played him in one film and played a version of him in the Francis Ford Coppola movie Cotton Club. Produced film. This is produced film. Kingsport Cal, the Comic Relief Crusader, a.k.a. Mike. 6, of course. Sagacious 6, Jedi 6. It's always 6. Parrot Head. Venkman's Girl, Ryan Olchow. I think that's one of your friends, isn't it, Mephisto? Ryan? Is it Ryan Olchow, one of your friends?
No.
No? Okay. Shinatsky.
Sorry.
And that's it. Thanks for being here, guys. We appreciate it. Tom, Mephisto, Deleted Scenes. Glad you guys can make it. And I think it's a fun show, man. We threw out some good trivia, talked about some cool shit. I hope people had fun. And my bet is, Tom, that by Monday, this will have had close to 300 to 400 views already. Even though it's not a Tom and Gary show.
Yeah, we'll hope so.
It'll still get some good views. Because I think this is a beloved film. I know every one of our Harrison Ford films has gotten good views. So, and did I tell you, two of our shows, one is at 36,000 views, and my Audie Murphy to Hell and Back episode is at 66,000 views, which is awesome because we're not a big channel. We're nothing like you guys. But when I see stuff like that, it makes me feel like YouTube can't punish us that much. So people
That's
are getting
all you
through.
can hope for.
Yeah. But that's it, guys. I'm going to get the hell out of here. I want to remind you again, this was dedicated to watching Dracula.
Forgive my interruption, but I was just made aware of the unfortunate passing of Miss Lucy. I wish to offer my condolences.
Thank you.
Worst vampire Dracula movie ever because Leslie was miscast. That's it. I'll see you guys next time.
Great Renfield, though.
Yeah.
Ciao, guys.